Okay, welcome everybody. And we're on Daf Samach. Yesterday we started a little Agamata, so we go back. It comes in because Kisei Tzeyesh. The psukim we're talking about was about fire, and it says Kisei Tzeyesh Matzach Katzim Benachal Gadish Bava Kamma Shalem Shalem Amabi Asabima. So today is Agamata. I think the whole day is Agamata come out. Oh no, this part we did already, but let's get into the sugya again. And is Ba'olam El B'Shvil El B'Masha B'Sham Ba'olam. Then a Masfel Sadikim Tchila. Punishment comes only because of the Rishon. But when the punishment comes, they're assessing the Sadikim first. Shenemar, because of our pasuk. Kisei Seishim What's Up Kotzim. Amos Ayesh Yosef is Masha Kotzim Mesuinla. Then a Masfel Sadikim Tchila Shenemar B'Nechal Gadish. B'Achal Gadish Lo Nemar. El B'Nechal Gadish. B'Nechal Gadish Kamar. That the kotzim are the rishon, the eish is the punishment, the kotzim, the thorns are the rishon, and the gadish are the tzaddikim. And the way the pasuk goes is that fire comes out because it found kotzim. That's the kotzim tzuyila, they are thorns, they are rishon. But when it says that actually it's going to happen, the punishment, so it says v'nechal gadish, which the Gemara translates as the gadish was already consumed. Not that it was consumed now, it was already consumed. So that means that the gadish was consumed before the kotzim. And the Gemara is going to continue with the same idea. Tani Rav Yosef, Ma'atachsiv. Fatem lo seitzul ish b'Pesach beisad boker by Makas Bechoros that Hashem told Am Yisrael that they shouldn't leave the houses until the morning. Why? Because at night was Makas Bechoros. So what's the problem? The Makas Bechoros is for the mitzvah. What's the problem if the Jews go outside? Same idea. That since there was permission given to the destroyer, the Malach HaMavis, over there says there's a problem in this pasuk that has to be explained because it says that Ani v'lo Malach, there was no mashkas, there was Hashem was one of the acts before. So what does that have to do with the mashkas? So there's a kasha that already. So it's about a kasha no, that the drash that says Ani v'lo Malach, the KC various Mitzrayim.
It's a kasha on what?
And the drash that says there was only Hashem who did it. Ani v'lo Acher. So that's the roots. But here the Gemara says that once the mashkas, the destroyer, was given rishus to destroy, he doesn't discern between tzaddikim and rishon, so therefore you have to stay inside. And then with the dam, the mashkov that over there, that was a schus that they were protected. When the punishment does come, so then the tzaddikim are first. This brings a pasuk that it doesn't say by Mitzrayim. So when it talks about a punishment, so it talks about cutting off the tzaddik and the rosh, and it says tzaddik first. Tzaddik first. So that's the same as the Gemara before. Two psukim to bring the same idea that the tzaddikim also suffer, and also two psukim to say that the tzaddikim suffer first. Before it says v'nechal gadish, and here it says a pasuk of tzaddik v'rasha. Just to highlight those two psukim, just to show that that's the pasuk of v'nechal gadish was the one that was first, and the other pasuk is tzaddik v'rasha. Tzaddik v'rasha to show that tzaddikim suffer first. And Rav Yosef was crying about it. Rav Yosef koli hay nami la ayin domen. It's a very strange lashon. I don't get the lashon exactly. The verse of Quran says that they're considered so nothing. They're so similar to nothing. That tzaddikim, that there's no attention for them that they should be saved. But the point is not to being saved as much as how come they go first. They're so considered nothing that they even go first. It is a little also just to point out that when it says that Kadosh Baruch Hu is not mafkin, the mashkas is not mafkin, so you think that he's not discerned. So everything all the same. Well, it doesn't say everything's all the same. It says tzaddikim are first. So it's not just there's no discerning. And here, the fully high line domain that they go first. So Abai told his Rabbi Yosef that it's better for them. It's a favor for the tzaddikim. That tzaddik is gathered in dies because of the evil. They say Drash Mipnei before the war comes, in order that he shouldn't see the evil. Therefore, he dies first. So the fact that he dies, I'm not sure. It could be that that's some kind, like it says, Ein Mafkin. But once he's going to die, so then Hashem makes he should die first, that he shouldn't have to suffer seeing the punishment that's coming. That's as far as we got yesterday. And then Gemara continues also with the pasuk Amar Yehuda Amar Rav. Once we want the pasuk about Ish Pesach Beisad Boker, so we're going to dash in the pasuk, not the way we it's off the fire already, and the Gemara is going to bring a pasuk about that says in Mitzrayim about not going out at night. So over there, of course, the Pashut is because there was Makas Bechoros, but the Gemara makes a point about being the morning. A person should come into the city when it's still light, and he should leave the city when it's already light. Kitov, like Vayara, we can Kitov was then. Ikones means to come in, and the Yetzer means to go out. Tais has a problem that should say for us to go out then to come in. First you leave the city. Right. Tais talks about if you have to leave early, leave also in daylight when you're leaving your local city where you know your way around. Maybe over there you're allowed to leave even before daylight. But Tais argues on that. There are other problems also besides knowing where the pitfalls are. But here the Gemara says you're supposed to travel only in the daytime. Shenema b'atem lo seitzuish mipesach beisel ad boker, because here it says not to go out of the house until morning. Of course, the morning of this is talking about because Bechoros, that was the danger. But the Gemara is learning out from the lesson about boker that in the daytime it's more safe and therefore you shouldn't travel at night. Also, the famous story about the Legish Begiva, that the problem was because they went at night. That they stayed a few days, but always became late, and then at the last day they went, and he said, "No, I'm going already," even though it was late, and that's why they had to stop in a dangerous city. So you're supposed to travel in the daytime, not in the nighttime. The question will be nowadays, does it apply nowadays also? Rashi says here the problem is because of mazikim and listing. Rashi says because of mokshim and pchatim, different boros. So the question will be nowadays, do we have this danger also when we're traveling in the cars, when we're traveling, we have headlights, and is it considered more dangerous or not? It might be more dangerous for other reasons. Maybe it's dangerous. Maybe it is more dangerous at night. I guess we'd have to depend on the statistics. And
Rabbi, is this pasuk is during the plague of darkness?
No, this is by the firstborn.
By the plague of the firstborn, they should.
This was the last night before I left Mitzrayim. So it says that they should stay in their houses, and they should put the blood of the Korban Pesach they put on the lintel on the two doorposts, and they should eat the Korban Pesach, and they shouldn't leave the house until morning.
Oh yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay.
The Pashut Shad is morning because that's when Makas Bechoros is over. But and like I said before, it should be a maftim in South Russia. But the Gemara makes it rush on the word ad boker that a person shouldn't travel at night. At night, stay indoors. I just a lot of nowadays there's so much traffic at night. Like, like the trains are packed at 12 o'clock at night. So I'm not sure. So you lights light up the area. So there's you have more nowadays also. So this was the first. This Gemara. Now the Gemara goes into other points about safety. If there's a plague, pestilence, what do they call it nowadays? Epidemic. So stay indoors. Gather your feet indoors. Stay indoors. Like they did by Corona. Everyone has told to stay inside. Outside things are dangerous. The same person. Here the Gemara is going to bring a couple of psukim, and the Gemara is going to talk about why we need so many psukim. So we'll also highlight it. One pasuk is, don't go out of your house until the morning. Why Makas Bechoros? What does that have to do with Dever? It's like a Dever. It's like a Dever. It's like a Magefa. It's not like the Dever of the animals that there was Dever over there also. But that wasn't dangerous for people. It was only an animal. But by Makas Bechoros, the people are dying. So stay indoors. Another pasuk. It has a yud over here, but it's a comedic sleep, and it's read the lasacha. Go, my nation, come into your rooms. What? I'm sorry. You tell me. I thought you're making different colors for each color. I guess we can hear 3 seconds. And the third pasuk.
Sorry, what? I couldn't quite hear what everybody was saying, but I thought you said something about a yud and you pronounce it differently. I didn't hear the different pronunciation.
Yeah, so just here on the side of Rashi. Okay, exception to the rule. Here, the pasuk is on the right side. But number 2 over here. So really in the pasuk it says it with a yud, like it says in the Gemara. It's not a mistake in the Gemara. The Gemara wrote the way it's written, ksiv, but you pronounce it b'lasacha. Go, my nation, come into your rooms and close your door for yourself. Hide for a short time until the anger passes. So the Gemara is learning out when it's a Deborah, so stay indoors. Not a pasuk says go indoors and close the door. And the third pasuk, Omer, a third pasuk.
What does Dilas do? What does the yud do?
Usually that will make it into plural. The las secha, not your doors. And here it's not read that way. It's read the las secha, your door.
Thank you.
And it would make it read. You can't read this the las secha. You have to take out the yud in order to make it the las secha. You also will read the las secha. The next word is ba'decha, even though it does not have a yud. But what is that?
Today we have a lot of doors to close.
A lot of doors. Okay, close your door. And the last pasuk on the outside, the sword is bereaving, and inside the rooms there is pride. That's the pasuk in Zinu. What are the people going to be bringing me? 2, 3, and 4. Those are the three. Am I making a mistake? No, I made a mistake. The first one. Those are the three psukim, 1, 2, and 3. Ad Boker, that was one pasuk, and here it is. Okay, that's meant the yud before. I didn't mean that. So it wasn't the main point of the Gemara. Talk about the yud. That's how to read it. But here it says also to stay indoors. And the third pasuk is, we'll see soon what the drash is going to be. It says that the sword is bereaving outdoors. It means when you're outside, so there's a danger of the sword. And in the inside, when you're trying to protect yourself, there's ema, there is fear. And the Gemara is going to say that you're supposed to stay indoors. Even it's better to stay indoors because there is a cherev outside, and not after a sword, also a dever. That's what the Gemara is going to say. What the drush is going to be soon. But the Gemara put all together three psukim. At this point, that when there's a dever, stay indoors. My Omer, and now the Gemara asks, who said all this? Tanur Rabbanan. Now the Gemara is asking, why do you have to Omer? Now the Gemara says the answer. The first pasuk is not enough. You might say the first pasuk that talks about not going out till the morning because there was a dever outside. You might say only because it's night. Night is more dangerous. So night you have to stay indoors, but in the daytime you can go out, you can go outdoors. So no, the pasuk says over there, come into your rooms, and it doesn't say dafka night, or it doesn't say anything over there. So therefore, even in the daytime also, that's also not enough. That it's you go indoors when there's no problem with being indoors, like by a dever. So go inside. It's better inside than outside. But when there's a problem coming inside also, when there's a fear indoors for some other problem, so you might think it's better to be outdoors. You take out this next word. Doesn't fit so well. I looked in the manuscripts. It doesn't have it. Tfei Mali. You might think that when there's a problem inside, when there's a fear inside, so then it's better to sit outside amongst people. Tzavsa. Tzavsa means in company. You might think that it's better to sit with people in company. Maybe that's better. Tashma, no. Even if there's a problem indoors, even if there's a problem indoors, it's still better to be indoors than to be outdoors, but at the time of a dever. Even though there's a problem indoors also, that there's some kind of fear of something, but it's better than outside, because outside is worse, that has even a sword. Even not talking about a sword, we're talking about a dever. Those are the three Gemaras, that the Gemara brought in order to show dever beer, when there's a pestilence, an epidemic, stay indoors. And that was what the Mishwan Abiyut said to do, to stay indoors.
Sure.
Rafa.
It's to get vaccinated.
That the Gemara didn't have the vaccination. Rafa, when there was a time of anger, there was some problem, some whatever the problem was going to be. Doesn't say what, anger, time of anger, Hashem was time of punishment. So he would close the windows. Sachar Kabe. What does that mean, close the windows? Because the pasuk says that death has entered our windows. Of course, the pasuk shot is poetic. That is saying that death is coming through the windows, but he's taking it somewhat literally, and it's better to close the windows. Here the pasuk says, as you read the pasuk in Yirmiyah, because death has come up through our windows. It came into our palaces to cut down the children from outside and from the marketplaces, and Bachurim Merchabos, the death is killing all the youth. So since it says that it came through the window, so it was a payda to close the window, even though it doesn't mean that. So there must be something esoteric or maybe something that the window represents. I don't know. It is interesting, just to point it out, another Gemara we had a long time ago on Brachas. Brachas Lamed Beis over there says also Rava, another place where Rava took the pasuk literally to act upon it. It says over there that when it was a cloudy day, he didn't make a tainus. When they had a tzara, they wanted to make a fast day, but when it was a cloudy day, he didn't, because it says in the pasuk, that Hashem made a mechitza of a cloud in order that tefillah shouldn't come to Shemayim. Of course, the tefillahs don't go to the skies. Wow. That's not the way that it works, and the cloud is not going to stop the tefillah. But something the pasuk says in a poetic way. So Rabbi said you have to act also on the pasuk of the words, even though it doesn't mean that. So there's probably something that's connected, what the clouds represent, and tefillah, whatever. And also the fact that it has windows, even though it's strongly poetic, but it's also to be acted upon in a literal sense also.
I need sorry, I need help. I got lost. I need the cookie shop. I don't know where to go.
Oh, the cookie shop? I'd like to find it downstairs. Yeah. Moshe is coming down.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, what is Miguai?
Migavoy, from inside. The
Migavoy.
opposite of bar. Bar means outside, and Gavoy means inside. The aim of Migavoy, right inside, in the Chadorim.
Okay.
Right.
The mem is just a prefix.
That's the same thing you have. What do you mean? Which word?
I mean that the mem isn't the word. The mem is a prefix from inside.
Right, yes, right. The same word you have by shlish, milago, milagav, milabar, inside, outside. Now the Gemara continues about a famine. Tanu Rabbanan will be. Before we spoke about a dever, about a pestilence, and now we're talking about famine. So when there's a famine, so then go out. Don't stay in the city. Go out of the city. Pazer literally means to scatter. So it means leave. When there's a city, so then leave the city. Go someplace else to find food. By a dever, kanes reglecha. Stay in. The Gemara uses the same lashonos about b'shasam machansim pazer, b'shasam machansim kanes. Kinus levishon, pizul levishon. The opposite of gathering is spreading out. So in the dever, it's advisable to stay in. Shalom, welcome. So in the dever, the advice was to stay indoors, and by a famine, to stay out, not outdoors, but it means to get out of the city. That there was a famine. Hashem told Abraham to go to Eretz Yisrael. He did, and there was a famine. Then he left. He went to Mitzrayim. So you see, Abraham left because of the famine. He didn't stay in the same place. Agav over there, the Ramban says that it's a time of Abraham Avinu that he left Eretz Yisrael because after Hashem told him to, because there was a famine. The Pashup Pshat is not like that. The Pashup Pshat is that Hashem told him to go to Eretz Yisrael. He went to Eretz Yisrael. Then there's a famine. He's supposed to leave. He'll come back as soon as possible. But it doesn't mean that Hashem is telling him to stay when there's Sakanas Nefashos. And the Ramban does say that it's a time on him. The Chazal don't. But someone told me that Zohar does say it's a time on Avram.
It was that he left.
That it was. And the Pashup Pshat in the Gemara and the Pasuk not, and also in the this Gemara says that on the contrary, we learned from Avraham Avinu that he's supposed to leave. You don't say he did a bad thing, even though the bad thing would have been only in Eretz Yisrael maybe, but otherwise you could say maybe he learned from Avraham Avinu that that's a normal thing to do. In Eretz Yisrael, it might have been different.
Yeah.
Yaakov did not. If it's possible to do that, if it's possible to bring the supplies back there.
He had an arm. He was able to go down and go back and forth.
Who is that?
Yaakov.
Avraham wasn't able to just go and bring the food.
Bring the food too.
Bring the food back. Could he go back there to Israel and bring the food? Go to Mitzrayim, bring the food. Also, could be that in Mitzrayim at that time it wasn't for sale. Food wasn't for sale. Times of Yosef, food was for sale. So everyone's going to Mitzrayim, and the Yosef was selling everything because they had 7 years of plenty before. But the times of
able to buy enough.
Right, there was for sale. They ought to buy, but the regular famine, so then they don't have to sell out. They need the food themselves. There was a big plenty by Mitzrayim. Without the, I just was saying, right, there was food to sell. It is interesting that otherwise, how could without the Zohar, so to speak, how could the Ramban argue on Avraham Avinu, so to speak? Someone asked, it's Avraham Avinu and the Ramban, like how could Avraham Avinu hold there was the right thing? If Chazal don't say that it was a time on him, that's a kasha. I mean, how are you supposed to learn the Chumash? and you have your own opinion. But Ramban, the Ramban offer any tachas kapas raglav. But the question is, if on the contrary, the Gemara would bring a right from Avram, unless the Gemara the pasuk or the Gemara would say that it's a taina on Avram. So how could we say that it's a taina? But they did find the Zohar that says like the Ramban.
Do we have other times where Hashem says go somewhere?
Because of the famine. Here Hashem,
Meaning if I mean I'm trying to understand what Rambam would say that is have Hashem giving directions go to Israel, wouldn't he give directions leave?
maybe it's understood that whenever it is a danger, that's already Hashem said already by Bias Olam, all the laws of sense that we're supposed to figure out. So when there's danger, you're supposed to leave. So that's because Hashem said to go there. Israel doesn't mean even on the family. There is a place I think when Yitzchak was going. So then it says over there he also was going because of the famine, and then Hashem told him to stay in Plishtim. Go Borat says, "Oh, don't go. I'll tell you this one." Over there Hashem told him not to. So then of course he stayed. If I also would have stayed, if Hashem told him to stay.
That would be the point. Hashem's only mentioning don't go there, don't not leave because of a famine unless they tell you to. Otherwise, it is illogical.
Right, I would think so. But the Ramban does say so, and they found the Zohar. You heard that? There's a you know about the Zohar that says like the Ramban that it was a taina on Avram Avinu. Someone told me a couple of days ago. The Omen, another pasuk. So this is one pasuk. Let's just also keep this. Maybe it helps a little bit. One pasuk is to show that you leave by a famine because it says, "That's one pasuk." But Omer, another pasuk. This is pasuk number 2. This is talking about 4 mitzvot. We read it by the Torah, and it says that there were 4 mitzvot that were out of the city.
No, in the city.
They were in the city, right outside the gate.
No, that's
You're right. They were outside the gate over there. And they had, what should they do? So they said, there's a famine in the city. What should we do? What are we going to do over there? Let's go to the Machna Ram. And over there, maybe they'll let us alive, maybe not, but there's a better chance than staying in the city. So that's the Gemara brings it right from here, that you're supposed to leave the city when there's a famine. My Omer, how come you have to have 2 psukim? What's wrong with the first pasuk? The answer is, by Avraham Avinu, it wouldn't be a riot to the case, second case. This is that's the question. My Omer, what do you need 2 psukim for? The answer is, maybe go out of the city if the place you're going to is safe. Like they went Abraham to Mitzrayim. There wasn't a danger. Really, there was a danger. He was scared of Sarah.
Yeah.
Maybe again, it's a kasha, maybe small kasha, that he was in danger of his life because of Sarah. They had to go to Mitzrayim. But the Gemara says maybe only go out of the city if the place you're going to is not dangerous. You might think if there's a danger to go to a dangerous place, maybe you better stay by the famine. So on that it says no. Tashma over there it says they also weren't sure they're going to go. They had no choice. They had a choice, either go to the city or to go to Machna Ram. And they said Machna Ram was also a subject. They might kill us also. But they said it's a better chance. We'll go to Machna Ram. If they'll let us live, we'll live. If not, not. But in the city, and they were surely going to die. Let's see the pasuk over here. If we stay in the city, we're going to die because of the famine. If we're going to remain here, but outside the city, also we're going to die, nothing to eat. Let's give ourselves into Machna Ram. So there's a chance. Maybe yes, maybe not, but here it's definite death, and over there it's suffering. So therefore, when there's a famine, go, even if you're not sure if you're going to a dangerous place. Then the story over there was that Machna Ram was empty, and they had Hashem made a miracle, and they had heard an army coming, and they fled, and everything was available for them to eat. And then this is the story at the times of Elisha. Tanur more advice about the dangers. What you're supposed to do by a danger. Dever beer, back to the Dever. If there's an epidemic going around, don't go in the middle of the road. When you go on the road, go on the side of the road. Because the Malach HaMavis, the angel of death, is going in the middle. Since he has Rishus now to have it make a Dever, he's the one in charge. The Malach HaMavis is the one who's doing it. So he's in the middle of the path. It makes it sound like the Malach HaMavis goes on the path. You might think that the Malach HaMavis doesn't go on the roads. He has other ways of traveling. It makes it sound like the Malach HaMavis goes on the path also. Stay out of his way. Go on the side. You might not notice you over there. The Chivan Diabole Rishusa Maski Ledya, because since he has permission, he was given permission, so he walks openly. Lahedya, what's lahedya? Directly, openly. Obviously, what would a translation literally be? Usually behedya means beferish. That's how they say in it says in behedya, it says it beferish, but explicitly. But it doesn't mean whatever the idea is over here. It goes in the main road, he's the boss. But shalom be'ir, al yalach b'sidei drachim. And when there is peace, means there's no deber. So then, on the contrary, don't go on the side of the road, go in the middle of the road, because on the contrary, that's where the Malach Hamavos is hiding out. Even though less since he doesn't have rishus, so he's not authoritative. Then machli chabuye umazgi. So then he hides and goes. When he's going on the side of the road. So they'll be taking it literally. The Malach Hamavos goes on the road or something, like you said before about the windows. I don't know. That's the end of that brisa. This was all brought down by the times of the COVID. They brought down these Gemaras about Deborah. We just saw Rashbash here. There's a Bikvega that's brought down on the side of the page, someplace over here. I don't know which side of the page it would be in this text. He refers to a Rashbash. Who's that? Who's a Rashbash with Pinchas?
He quoted his father, the Tashbetz. So this is the son of the Tashbetz.
Who's the Tashbetz?
We know right before Gears the last generation of Spain.
So in the 1450s. So he says over there, he has the kasha about taking care of your health and all kinds of preventative things in order to protect yourself. And we looked it up. He's asking the kasha from the place where it says that a person's days are designated from Rosh Hashanah. If he's going to live, he's going to die. So what does he have to take care of himself? So he says a chiddush. I would say the Pashup Shat without the Rashbash. I would say I think that's the Pashup Shat understood. That of course the person is designated how much he's supposed to live if he's supposed to live this year. But then if he jumps off the roof, so then he canceled out the Gzera. And when there's a danger, he's supposed to take care of himself. He has to do the best that he could. And if there's a danger, he has to protect himself. But and if he doesn't protect himself, he might die, even though he was destined to live. And even if he does his best, but if there's an epidemic or something like that, so then it's something that might override the Gzera on his personal issue. But the Rashba says that there's such a thing that somebody is not designated on Rosh Hashanah, not for life, not for death. It's like social from the Ftachim. He doesn't read the whole Gemara over there. He just starts off that some are definitely going to live, some are definitely going to die, and then there's the one that are not that are totally v'omed. The Gemara says totally v'omed until Yom Kippur, but he says like totally v'omed, and then he's vulnerable to death because he's vulnerable. He's not definitely going to die. He's not definitely going to live. Then it depends on all these things. Then you have to be careful. So that's a chiddush, and he's saying that all the people, whenever the Gemara says to be careful about your health, there's always going to be, because maybe you're one of those that it wasn't destined on it. Right, the Gemara,
He was going, unless one had a special scores or special avera.
that only special people are signed in on, sealed on Rosh Hashanah, that it should be for life or for death. Otherwise, they're still open for the bikrim. Pashpa is not like that. Pashpa is that there's a gzera in everybody, and I think the Pashpa shot. But if a person is in a danger, so then it can override the personal reason why he should live. He should have his life. Okay.
With money, if someone gamble, if someone's supposed to make a certain amount of money or Shana, but they let go gamble,
Right.
they can lose more.
Right. And if they throw it out, whatever, burn it, no one's going to stop them from burning it. So you said it was destined. So that's not what destined means. That's the heart of Pashab Shah. Okay, so this Gemara is talking about taking care of all your health. And some people didn't. I don't know what they did to all this Gemara.
On Yisrael or something.
So then it might not help his personal life, his personal Xera. Yeah, right, true. And if there's a Xera of epidemic, so also there's something that's overriding. So you have to be careful. So the Pashas, the Gemara is all over talk about being careful about your health. And I don't know the people who come with it as if they're being frum and say, no, we don't have to be careful about it. I don't know where they're coming from. The Gemara is all saying to be careful with your health. You have to eat healthy.
I was eating carrots today.
You knew which Gemara like
Carrots. That's it. Can't get better than that.
Tani Rabbanan.
Healthy breakfast.
Tani Rabbanan. Deve be'ir.
People who didn't come with your chocolate today.
Deve be'ir. If there's an epidemic, a person shouldn't go alone into basic knesses, to a shul. Because the Malach HaMavos keeps his weapons, his kalim over there. So we don't know what it means. What does it mean, the kalim? his germs. He leaves the bacteria over there. I don't know. Again, there's going to be a shot from the Rashbash that he takes it out of the Pashup shot. He says that it's dangerous to go into basic Knesses alone. Why is there no minion over there? If there's no minion, so then Hashem is not even happy with such a basic Knesses. That's how he learns Pshat the Gemara. That is a reason why he's going into a dangerous place. Not Pashup shot. The Gemara seems to say that the Malach HaMaves has kalim, he has weapons, and if for some reason leaves it in the shul. That's only in the shul which doesn't have children learning over there, and they don't have a minion davening over there. But if there's a minion or that children learning, it used to be in the olden days that the basic Knesset that the children didn't learn in school. They had a basic Medrash and a basic Knesset. During davening, they were davening, and during when there wasn't davening, so the children would come and the Rebbe would teach them in the basic Knesset. So here it says, the Gemara always says that Beit Knishta, the children go to Beit Knishta, and the what? Total Beit Knishta.
What is Dardike?
Those are learning Tanakh. Those are learning Tanakh. They would learn, but the adults they went to. They wanted to learn Tanakh. They went to the base Medrash. The adults were learning the base Medrash. They went, and the basic Knesset was not empty room. The whole day they used it for learning, teaching the children.
Out of town, or it's not the basic message from that.
You want to say that maybe it's because it's not in the city, like I said over there. Basic Knesset is out of the city, so it's more dangerous. But here's about the Dever. Here's about the Dever. So then,
But it's the time that the Hamadis puts this.
there's more. So it's more dangerous. The place where it's more dangerous. And if they're learning over there, I never thought about this. The kids go out of town. They go out of the city. If the shul is out of the city, so then the children go out of the city in order to learn. I never understood. They made the basic Knesset and the Sada.
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
And then the father told the children how far I had to walk every day.
They walk together. The father goes to the field and the child goes to the shul to learn.
What's Dardike? What is Dardike? Dardike.
Dardike children. Dardike is children. If the dogs are crying, anybody know about dogs crying or being sad? You can tell when a dog is sad.
Crying, maybe they're hollering.
And you see that they see.
When they want food, they cry. They whimper. Or they want to go out to walk, they whimper.
They whimper. And if they're laughing, they're jolly. Klav Mesachkim, that's a raya that Eliyahu Navi bolia. They're sensitive to the Malach HaMavis and Eliyahu Navi. According to their mood, you can see if the Malach HaMavis is there. They're sensitive more than people.
Man's best friend. Yeah.
And immediately the less communicate.
Even though the Malach HaMavis wasn't here, like Bnei Yisrael, they didn't make it. I don't know what's the Yechratz Lashon.
Yechratz, they say.
But
It's not both.
It's
It's not the same thing.
It's not Bocha. It's going to be like a bar kind of thing.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, let's communicate, but that this simon that if they're jolly, it shows that Eliyahu is only if there's no female around them. If there's a female, that's the reason why they're jolly. Yosef, we're still, what are we going back? So that was Agav. We can put this all into parentheses from the top of the page. He really came in because of Aish, that we said that Kotzim with the Rishon, and that's how we got into the pasuk of Boker. So this is the end of the parentheses. Now we go back to Kisei Tzayesh, fourth white line. Yosef Avdim Rabasi. They say it should be Rabbi Yami, Rabbi Yasi. So Kamedi Avitzah Napocha. Napocha is a blacksmith, and usually the yeshiva say Nafcha, Visak Nafcha. I had once a Taimani Chavrusa, and I said Nafcha. He started laughing. Visak Napocha. Ma'amalei, Leimama Shmaitza. So the two students, Rabbi Mirabasi, one of them wanted to learn halachas, Shmaitza, the other one wanted to learn Agarata. Machlok is what the Rebbe should teach. So he tried to teach and he couldn't go. He started learning Agarata, the other one didn't let. He started learning halacha, the other one didn't let. Each one was standing on their position. Daf Agarata. Nowadays you have Daf Yomi, whatever the Daf says. But they had a question what they should learn. So there was Machokus Talmidim what they should learn. So he had a Pasach Lamema Amalahem. So he said they have a problem over here. I'll give you a mashal of what this is comparable to. A man has two wives, a young woman and an older woman, and everyone wants that she should be on the right speed. So he had some white hairs, he had some black hairs. A little smaller. Sorry that it's so small. Okay. The young woman was picking out all of his white hairs, and the older woman was taking out all his black hairs. So he was bald on all sides. This
It's not a real story.
it's a mashal, and the Gemara, this is interesting. This is the only place the Gemara uses this terminology. But it became a expression that the Rishonim use when it wants to say that you lose out on both sides. So like the monofshach kind of thing, they have a kind of so it says that you're losing out on both sides.
He wasn't learning anything. Over here, what's the word?
Yeah, you say, well, I have to teach. I can't teach. I can't teach. Whatever I say, somebody says has a complaint. So what can I can't teach. Okay, I don't figure out something. If so, I'll say something and both people will be happy. I'm going to say pasuk or drash, and it's going to be both on a drash level, on a garata level, and on a halacha level. First he said the garata level. It says if the fire goes out, that's not pasuk with Omar Eish. So Teitze miatzma. The word Teitze means it went out by itself. It doesn't say if a person makes a fire, like we saw.
Yeah.
What does it say? So then the pasuk says Amavri Asabeira, the one who made the fire. But the pasuk doesn't start off if the person kiyaber ish. No, they have kiyaber means behemoths. It means it says beis over there means animals. He takes his animals into somebody else's field. But when it says making a fire, it doesn't say that a person lit a fire. The kiyad the kish h. It doesn't say that. It says the it went out by itself. But then when it says that then he has to pay, it says Shalem Mishalem Amavri Asabeira, that the one who made the fire has to pay. So the pasuk changes its case. Was it talking about the fire went by itself? Was it talking about that he made the fire? So that's the first I got it to answer the kasha. Hashem says I have to pay for the fire that I made, even though Hashem didn't make the fire. So Rashi explains that when Bnei Yisrael sinned, so then the punishment that comes is their fault, not Hashem. Hashem didn't make the punishment; they made the punishment. But then, and here they're talking about the fire that Hashem made in Sion, and it says Hashem is going to fix up the problem, even though He didn't make the problem. But that's why it says that even though the H came out by itself, the Ma'aber Saber, the one who made it, as if he made it himself, and he has to pay. So Hashem says, "I made as if I made the fire." That's the pasuk that Gemara brings, that Hashem says I made the fire, even though He didn't. אני הצאתי אש בציון, שנאמר ויצא אש בציון, בתוך יסוד הסאה, ואני אעשה לבנוס הרבה, שנאמר, ואני אהיה לו חמאס אש, סביב ולכבוד יהיה בסוכה. I ignited the fire in Sion, like it says, that he, Vayatzis, pasuk Enecha, Vayatzis esh b'Tzion b'toch yisod haseh, that Hashem ignited a fire in Sion and it consumed its foundations, even though He really didn't. It's called like Am Yisrael is the one who ignited the fire. But Hashem says, I'm going to take care of it because I made the fire. I'm going to rebuild Yerushalayim with fire, like it says, I'm going to be for it, for Yerushalayim, a wall of fire around, and I'm going to be a glory within it. So that's the Agarata part. Also, Shmaitza, I'm going to now say the halacha, based also on the same pasuk. Same kash over again. And when it says about the fire going out, it says the fire went out. That's called like it's his fire's problem, like because it's his fire, but not that he did it. But the pasuk ends off as if he did it himself. Same kash over again. Which was an old sugi we had it before. And the question was if a fire is chitzav, means that it's considered adam amazik. If somebody throws a stone, it's adam amazik, and it's like he did it. And making a fire, is that also considered that he threw the fire, and it's considered adam amazik? The Gemara says if you hold Eshem Hashem Chitzav, it's considered a zero. The other tzad, the machlokus would be Eshem Hashem Amona, that it's only chayv because it's his. That doesn't make difference if it belongs to him or not, but it means he's responsible for it. And it's not that he did it. It's called a new mazik, called Esh. And the Gemara says nafkamina would be that it's chayv like adam amazik, which would mean now the dvorim they has to pay for tzad ripush of his boshes because he did it. Like he threw a stone, and also he's chayiv misa. If he killed with a fire, so Eshem Hashem Chitzav, it's like he did it. It's not like his animal did it. He did it, and I think we pass on Eshem Hashem Chitzav. The Gemara talks about some cases kabel chitzav. If he made the fire when it was contained and the wall fell down, that's kabel chitzav. Then it's only Eshem Hashem Amono. Otherwise, we hold Eshem Hashem Chitzav. I'm pretty sure that's how we pass. More agarata. How does the agarata come in? We're still going to have come tamun beish. This comes in aga because soon we're going to have. Just to highlight, well, it's going to get to that someplace. There's going to be a sugi of Tamil Beish. We had which really we didn't have yet. The sugya of Talmud is coming up later, but it's interesting. It brings down that Garat already now. What does Talmud mean? That if something was covered up, it wasn't obvious, it wasn't galui. Oh, we just thought it came out in the Gemara, not in the Mishnah. The Gemara said the pasuk of Kamma. He says, so Kamma, the Gemara learned out this extra pasuk. You don't have to talk about that. It says already that it's the Gadish, and so it says Kamma. It tells you that only if it's galui, only if it's obvious. But if it's hidden, say Talmud Beish is Pater. Abud argues. He says Talmud is Chai, H is Chai in Talmud. Okay, the Gemara some got about that, but the real Mishnah is going to be later on. Yisabed David. So this is a very ambiguous pasuk. Let's try to enlarge it over here. We can see the pasuk. I'll say my pasuk shot. I think it's pasuk shot, but not so pasuk. It says, I'm sorry, one more time. Pasuk in Shmuel base 23, pasuk 15 and 16. Vayisaveh David, Vayomer, mi ashkeni mayim mibor beis lechem asher bashor. David desired, and he said, who's going to bring me water from the well of Beis Lechem, which is by the gate? And it seems that the Plishtim were there. So David was, okay, we'll see soon. So 3 of David's warriors, they broke through to the camp of the Plishtim. Even though the Plishtim were all there. The Palestinians, they were Plishtim were all there, and they drew water from that well. The David said, Asher Bashar, by Yisu, by Yaviu El David, and they carried it, they brought it to David. He didn't want to drink it. He poured it out to Hashem. So the simple words are, David wanted water from the place that the Plishtim were encamped around, and 3 Giborim, they were most nefesh together.
Was that his hometown?
I don't know. There's a Beis Lechem Yudah, there's Beis Lechem. There's not a Beis Lechem also, I'm not sure. I don't know. And I don't know.
He wanted his waters.
He wanted his waters. So I think that the Pashup Pshat, my Pshat. I think the Pashup Pshat is, I've got if the Mephoshim say so, that the Plishtim were camped, and they're saying, like Halabai, we should be able to get the water from there. Like the Plishtim, they're stopping us from getting the water. Not that he needed water, he had water. But he wanted to have water, but he said, to get water from there. Halabai, like we say nowadays in Gaza, I'd like to set up Bishmedrash in Gaza. Like by Yisaveh, Halabai, we should. So then 3 Giborim went, and they went to Bishmedrash in Gaza. They brought there, we have and then David says that he put himself in danger. He shouldn't have put himself in danger, and he drew and he spilled it out. And what did they? Yeah, he didn't want to benefit from it. He said, and he poured it out to us.
But he didn't think that they were going to go. But he said,
I think the Pashpat he didn't. Me Ashkeni was saying it rhetorically. He was saying it how you should be able to get water. That's my simple pshat. But the Gemara is going to take it on the Dvash level. Whatever the pshat is, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the Gemara is definitely going to go on the Dvash level. And
but these guys felt bad. I mean, they went for the water, but then he's spilling it out. That's not.
You have to learn not to do such things. You don't do such things.
Spilling it out wasn't like a carbon. It wasn't.
It could be, but he had a time on them. I think there was I think wasn't the right thing. Does the pasuk say anything more? Is the pasuk anything more than that way it says it over here?
So it's compared to their blood, like that.
Right, I think so. Let's get the pasuk.
There's another pasuk also.
Where's the pasuk? Thank you. What do we say? Shmuel base 23.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that pasuk up here, does it? Shmuel base 23. There's another pasuk in Divrei Hayam, but it's the same idea. 15, 16. Vayisabeh David, v'yom meishkeni mayim bor beis lechem asher bashor. Vayifku 13 giborim. All that pasuk. Vayomer, like Shaul said, Halila li adinoi me'asosi zos. Halila that I should do such a thing. Adam anashim ha'olchim v'nafshosam. The blood of people that went to give giving their life. The pasuk is really describing the gvura of these warriors. But the story was that they went into the Machna Plishtim. 3 people went into the Machna Plishtim.
I'd say Dustin didn't think he was worthy of drinking it.
He says they shouldn't have gone. No, it's like drinking blood. Now they didn't die; they made it, but they was putting themselves in sakana, so it wasn't the right thing to do. They didn't go disguised as Arabs or something like that.
What's the issue of Sorim and Adashim?
We didn't get that yet. Where's it going to be? It says here on the side. It's also going to be right. It's also similar. No, I don't think it's the same story.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going to see that coming up.
Yeah,
The
it's
problem-
coming up, but
Is the problem here because Vayikba'u, because they broke through and what's the problem?
They broke through. They put themselves in danger. They didn't. They went into the camp of the Plishtim.
Uh-huh.
That's possible.
Next pasuk.
And nothing. What you read now is just pasuk Yudala.
Tezvav. This was what? Tezvav over here. It said.
That's Zion, and that's the.
Mm. Well, the same also about the Gibborim over there. So here the Gemara continues. So what was the question? Now, what was the question? Who says there was a question? The Gemara is going to say there was a question. That's a drash. So here it goes. My kami boile. What did so Gemara learns that the base that the Hashem Bashor, the shore, the gate. So the Gemara learns that the gate was the Sanhedrin, and he had a question. He said, David, he had some question. He had a question. David had a question, and he wanted to ask Sanhedrin. What was the question? Amar Nachman Taman Beish Kami Boile. This was his question about Taman Beish. Is H Chayv Taman? If someone makes a fire and he burns something which was concealed, is he Chayv to pay? Rashi says it was such a story. I don't see any, and so far there's no hint in the Gemara that was a question. Maybe he had any another question. What time is Man Kriyashma? Like the Gemara doesn't yet say any hint how he knows which question it was. There was a question, and then the three Gibborim went to what? To figure out what the answer is.
The Sanhedrin.
So there was no danger then. But the Gemara is going to say that there was a danger. There was a danger in finding out what the answer is. I don't know what the point is. But here the Gemara says, what was the question? So they didn't know. Tamam Beish is Eish Chayiv on something that was concealed. What did he know? What did he want? Ikrab Yuda, Ikrab Bona. The Rebbe says it's Chayiv, and Rabbanah say Potter. Rashi says there was such a story that someone had burnt, a Jew had burnt something, and it caused damage to something which concealed. Is he Chayiv to pay? And it doesn't say what the answer was. These three Gibborim, they said what the answer is. The three Gibborim of Sanhedrin, or went to Sanhedrin, but they still.
Rashi says that's Sanhedrin.
So all you see is that was Sanhedrin, and so they went to Sanhedrin. They were Sanhedrin, they went to Sanhedrin, and they got the answer. What was the answer? Doesn't say. We don't know what the answer is. Maybe Chayiv, maybe Potter. We don't know. That's one shot. That's the number of the pshatim over here. We'll make here some of the pshatim. The first one was Rava. There was Talmud Beish. Ravuna Amar. And that Ravuna is the second shot. What happened over there? What the shayla was? Kedishim Desom the Yisrael Havu. They have Umatami Plishnabu. There were piles of Jewish barley that belonged to Jews, and Plishtim were hiding in the piles of barley, so they wanted to burn it down. And the Plishtim, they wanted to get the Plishtim. They wanted to, but they had to burn down the whole thing in order to get the Plishtim. So what's the problem?
They're hiding in the tunnels.
Yeah. And they wanted to burn the tunnels, and there weren't people over there. There was property. Are you allowed to use somebody? Allowed to save yourself with somebody else's property? Taisha says that of course you're allowed to. Taisha says learns the questions over here. It was dangerous these Plishtim, but they have to pay for it since they're ruining somebody else's thing in order to save my life. So I'm sure you're allowed to do it. The question is, they have to pay. That's what Taishas learns. Jump to Taishas a second. That it was pikuach nefesh. It's only allowed to use somebody else's money in order to save your life, but you have to pay for it. On one hand, you damaged him. On the other hand, you're doing it for pikuach nefesh. Are you allowed to do it? Maybe. So that was how Taishas learns the question. That was what do we say, Ravuna? That that's it's sorry about that. According to this, they did know the answer. I don't know how come the first one says we don't know what the answer is. In the first question, according to the second shot, they did know the answer. The answer was you're not allowed to. It means you have to pay.
That's going to mean that you don't want to use it.
And here, and this the first shot that's going to say that the Gemara is going to say over there. What's the Gemara going to ask? What's going to ask the kasha? What did they do? What was the shtaisa?
It doesn't say if the fire goes up.
What's that? If does he have to pay? Okay, well, it's not going to say that. Well, I'll see. Okay, so this was the question, and he said you're not allowed to. I mean, a regular person would have to pay according to this shot. The words don't say that. The words say if you're allowed to, you're not allowed to. It says show you're allowed to, but you have to pay for it. That a regular person would not be allowed to. You'd have to pay. In other words, and you're a king, so a king is allowed to do it. So as a king, you'd be allowed to burn down these saurim, even though in order to kill the plishtim. That's the king's job, to kill the plishtim. And even though you're burning down the saurim, you don't have to pay for it. Maybe make this whole thing to be one long. That was all the question. And that was a punis shot. And the answer was you're not allowed to, you'd have to pay for it, but you don't have to. Then there's a third shot. The third shot is going to be, I'm sorry. I'm driving too recklessly. I once saw somebody, I grew in Yeshiva, and he had a tour, and he underlined everything that's important. And I said, all things underlined. Doesn't help anything.
But when they take notes by your tourists. The women. The women have to take notes. Men don't.
So this question is going to be: are you allowed to steal with the intention of paying back? Which the hardest question that you're not allowed to. But that was the question. I don't know why it's a question. Here the case was: there were piles of barley of Jews, and there also were gedishim of adashim of plishtim, and they were goyish adashim. And he wanted to know, and they needed the soul to feed their animals. Am I allowed to steal the barley of Jews in order to give to my animals? And I'll pay back. Eventually, I'm going to get the adashim of the plishtim, I guess. And I'm allowed to use the adashim to pay back. Is there a difference because it's Soma and Adashim? What would have been Soma and Sorim? We're also not allowed to steal in order to pay back. Yeah, it was not even going to pay back to Sorim. Maybe it's better. Maybe that's better.
Dashim is not animal food.
Even better.
Maybe
that's why it should be mutter. And he said even that you're not allowed to. Shalchulei. So this is the third shot. We have here Rabba, then Ravuna, then we have Rabbanan or Rabba Bamar. Three shatim, either Talmud Be'esh, or are you allowed to save yourself with somebody else's money without paying? Or are you allowed to steal with the intention of paying back? Shalchulei, according to this, they said, you're not allowed to. Chavol Yashiv, Rasha, just to get the pasuk on the side. Chavol Yashiv Rasha, Gzei Lo Yishalem. Goes further. And the Gemara is saying that Mashkon, he's going to give back, and he's going to pay back the Gzela. And it's over there, it's talking about somebody that's considered he's doing tshuva, so he gives back, the Rasha gives back his Mashkonos, whatever he took, and the Gzela Yishalem. And the Drash is Apish Gzela Mishalem Rasha, even though he's going to pay back, he's still considered Rasha because he's stealing. You're not allowed to steal in order to pay back, with the intention of paying back. But you're a different, you're a king, and therefore you're allowed to do this. You're allowed to steal, you're allowed to switch and take the Jews shorim with the purpose, with the intention of paying back. What's he going to pay back? The Dashim of the Plishtim, that's how he got it. But you're allowed to steal. So those 3 mandamim. One shot was Talmud Be'esh, was Rava. One shot was about saving yourself with somebody else's money, and one question was about stealing in order to pay back. Now the Gemara is going to analyze these 3 pshatim. Bishlam Madama Lachlufe. How did the Chsiv Chad Kvod Vati Sham Chalkas Hasadem Malaya Dashim? Chsiv Chad Kvod Vati Chalkas Hasadem Malaya Somer. There's a discrepancy between Shmuel and Divrei Yamin. There are a lot of discrepancies when the Mepharshim talk about it. That is when it repeats the story that it says in one of the Nevi'im and in Chronicles, it repeats it. Sometimes there's a discrepancy, and then how do you reconcile the discrepancy? So this story that talks about that the Gibor of David, and it says something about this field of Saurim or Adashim. Let's see the psukim over here. So one says Saurim, one says Adashim. The story is described differently. Here's one pasuk. David befasta mimba Plishtim nasfu sham lamilchama v'ati chalkas hasudem v'vaya Saurim v'haram nasu v'pnei Plishtim. And the other pasuk. And then it says, I went to the wrong pasuk first about Shmuel. V'achlav Shammah ben Agay, Harabi, and the next warrior of David. V'yasfu Plishtim lachaya. V'ati sham chalkas hasudem v'layah adashim v'haram nasu v'pnei Plishtim. And he came and he saved. That's the pasuk that says in the bottom. that there was a danger of the Jews, something about Sa'omim, or like it says in Shmuel Adashim, and this Gibor, Shamuel ben Agay Harari, so he saved it. So there's a contradiction between here it says Adashim and here it says Sa'orim. So how are you going to reconcile this? So Mishnah with the third opinion, he's the only one who brought in the Adashim. So according to him, we understand that he wanted to switch the Adashim for the Sa'orim. That's why the Psukim talk about two different things, because both of them were there. Ishlam, where are we? 5 lines up. Ishlam Adam Alachlupe, he wanted to switch the Adashim for the Sa'orim. One says Adashim and one says Sa'orim, because they were both of them and he wanted to switch it. Elam Adam Alamikli, but if he wanted to burn it, because they were plishtim hiding and he wanted to burn it, so they were my boy honey trey kroy. What are these two psukim? Sa'orim Adashim, the only one of them, Sa'orim. There were two things that the plishtim were hiding in heaps of barley. They also were hiding in heaps of lentils, adashim, and that the same question for both, but there was some and adashim. So we had a kasha and we answered it. If there was a problem that he wanted to burn it, then that's what he says that he saved it. Why did he save? He saved it that they shouldn't burn it. The question was, am I allowed to burn these dashim with Sa'orim in order to kill the plishtim? And the answer was that you're not allowed to. That's called that he saved it. He saved it from being burned. But the question was if he's allowed to switch it. He wanted to steal in order to pay back with adashim. So my bayatzila, what's saving it? He wasn't going to burn anything. The answer is to stop him from taking it. It's also called that he saved it. He saved it from being taken from the Jews. He wanted to take the Jewish barley was almost going to be taken to feed somebody else's animals, and then he was going to get paid back. So when the psak came from Sanhedrin, so he saved it, and he said you may not. So all this psukim about the adashim and the Sa'orim, all that's going to lead to Madiyam. Either he wanted to burn both of them, or he wanted to switch one for the other. But according to the first part, Talmud Beish has nothing to do with the subject. Ella, top of the page. Ella l'man Talmud Beish coming boile my boile kroy. What are these psukim all about? Talmud the Sa'orim and adashim. Amalachad Talmud b'chad manach coming boile. That I'm asking that one of these pshatim are right, either about burning or about switching. And there were two questions, but he doesn't want to give up that there was some issue about Talmud also. That he also was asking his Talmud Chayv butter. The Gemara continues.
Why does he insist on that?
Why does he insist? Why does he want to have this pshat?
It's not even a pshat. It's
You don't even know where he got it from.
right.
I don't know.
Right.
Any Rashi on that? Rashi didn't say. I don't see it. Third line. According to the fifth shot, the second and the third shot, so we understand why it says David didn't want to drink it. What it was, he had a question, and this was the second question. The third question is: he allowed to save himself with somebody else's money? Is he allowed to steal in order to pay back? So it says that you're allowed to. Really, I'm sorry, really you're not allowed to. But a king may, you may. So what does it mean that David didn't want to drink it? He didn't want to take the heter of a king, even though a king is allowed to, but he didn't want to rely on the heter. Since it's really also for everybody else, even though I have special rights, special privileges as a king, but I don't want to utilize that, so therefore I'm going to pay or whatever the case was. If they just answer the question, so what's the issue that David didn't want to drink it? David didn't want to accept the psak. So before Shaul was talking about that maybe didn't want to rely on the heter, that Taman is potter. So Taisus has an issue with Rashi. Rashi says it was such a story. There was such a story that somebody burned somebody else's thing, and there was Talmud doesn't have to pay, doesn't have to pay. So Taisus has a kasha going to that. So then we have a pshat. Love double the shtor. So we didn't want to rely on the ptor. But Taisus seems to say that it wasn't a story. And there were then the bishmedrash Talmud Beish Chayva Potter, and there wasn't actual case that came in front of them. So the most kasha is what does mean David didn't want to accept it? If it's that's halacha, Talmud is Chayv, Talmud is Potter, whatever you hold. So what does mean David didn't want to accept it? The answer is the Laminu Mishmayu. He didn't say it over in their name. That even though they're the ones who brought the halacha, now he knows it's Talmud is Chayv, Talmud is Potter, whatever he knew. But he didn't say it over in their name. Why? Because they put themselves in danger in order to find it out. So we don't know the story exactly. If it was going to the Plishtim actually to get the water, so we say a story, we can say that's the pshat, that that was the case, that was dangerous to go. But if the question here is about knowing the halacha going to Sanhedrin, there was a danger there also. Sanhedrin was in Azah, like Sanhedrin was by the Plishtim by Bishlechem. Where's the danger over here? I don't know how this Garata fits into, but make it also a dangerous place. They were most an effort to get the halacha.
Well, they said the Sanhedrin wasn't Bethlehem.
They were, and there was the Plishtim were there.
Awesome.
Well, how was the Sanhedrin?
Could be maybe side or hiding,
They had to go through the Plishtim in order to get the Sanhedrin.
hiding indoors.
Okay. So David didn't want. Someone said you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have been most of efforts to find out the debate Torah. Must have such a Masorah from the Bezdin of Shmuel. Somebody that gave his life, put his life in danger in order to learn Torah. It's not a good thing. You're not supposed to do that. So you don't say over halacha in his name. It's interesting. You do find places that there are most efforts, like Rabbi Kiva, the famous thing about the fish in the water and the fox, and it says
On the roof.
on the roof. He didn't realize probably. He didn't realize that he was going to put himself in danger. He didn't realize that it's going to snow and everything. But that's an interesting thing. They cannot put yourself in danger in order to get to Beit Torah. Maybe a Shas Hashmad or like that, or by Torah, that they wouldn't be able to learn Torah at all. But here it was to find out a particular halacha. So I don't see any tzion. I don't see any place in Shulchan Aruch that it says this. You're not supposed to. It's supposed to be Yamas Al Beit Torah, Ki Yamas Kelos Bo'el, but that means it's supposed to even on the last day, the Gemara says he's supposed to still be connected to Torah even on a person's deathbed. And also the Gemara says that he should take away all tanugim. He shouldn't try to get the lights. He should, but here to actually put himself in danger, so it says you're not allowed to.
Get upset. It's
Right?
just to get upset.
To get upset. And it might not even have been halacha ma'isa. So you're not allowed to say over halacha in his name. The pasuk continues. He poured it out to Hashem. So in the Pasuk Pshat, he poured out the water. He didn't want to drink it, and he made it in the Sachem. He made a libation. But according to the Drash also, the two Pshatim about saving himself from somebody else's money or stealing in order to pay back. That even though it says that the fact, and not even though David didn't accept it. What does it mean he didn't accept it? The Gemara said before they really had a p'tor because he's a king, but he didn't want to rely on the p'tor. That's called he poured it out to Hashem. That the money that he paid is because he didn't want to rely on the heter of being a king. So that's considered that he did a service to Hashem Shemayim, and therefore he's praiseworthy. That it's called that he poured it to Hashem. He made a libation to Hashem. If the point was Tamil Beish, and he wanted to know what the halach is, and they told him what the halach is, but he didn't want to accept it because they put themselves. He didn't want to accept it means he didn't want to say it over in their name because they put themselves in danger. Just what does it mean? He made a libation. The answer is that he did say it. He said the halacha. He said the halacha without any names. Not that he didn't say the halacha. He said the halacha. Everyone should know. How does everybody know? We don't know still. We don't know. But at the time, they knew Talmud Veish is Chayv, Talmud Veish is Potter, and that's cool that he said it over in the name of what? Of Gemara. Mishmot Gemara is another way of saying, like a Masorah, that should be the halacha, Kavua. And he did say it. That's called, he poured it out to Hashem, but without any names. No names attached. But just had to say that B'meshach Hazman, in the course of time, so it got forgotten, and we have machlokas, and Rabban, the Talmud is Veish is Chayv and Talmud, we paskin, Eish is Chayv and Talmud.
That's how we know that they did that. We weren't told how they were. Because all that we would know. We would know what the Sanhedrin told Governor Melech.
Right.
So they would
the question. And the Gemara couldn't have said that they got an answer because then we'd have the answer. I got it. If I was asking, how come the second or third Gemara say that they got the answer? And in the first Gemara, the Gemara doesn't say they got the answer. Question might the question. So this says because if said that it wouldn't be a Mechlok, it would have done Rabbanah. It would have had a Masorah from the Sanhedrin at times of David. If Talmud is Veish Chayv and Talmud or not. Again, we learn not from the Chofetz. If we learn out from the word Bava Kamma, Rabbanan say Bava Kamma comes a Fukei Talmud, and Rabbi Yehuda has different Rasha to say Kamma Kol Bava Kamma. Rashi Kochachem. Thank you.
The confidence